I'm going to analyze a few bars from Chopin Etude, Opus 25, number 5, but of the middle section. I previously showed the beginning of the Etude, but thought that the middle would be very interesting from many points of view. So it starts in measure 45. The first thing that happens is that we go from the single note to the interval, single note to the interval, and same thing coming back. But it has shown as a problem for this reason. We go into the left, we have the thumb always goes in its own direction. We continue it to give us a single rotation. Always the finger that goes under the, after the thumb would always be a single rotation. Except that in this case we get to an interval, and if we do a single rotation we are off balance. So the rule is that when we play intervals and chords, that it's a down and just a little bit of a rotational balance which puts the arm exactly behind each finger. Feels quite perfect. So we have a little bit of a dilemma. We start with left, it throws us to the right, and then we have to play left, a tiny bit of left to really feel very close to the feeling of just going straight down, except that the rotation does it even more perfectly. And what's happening next, we actually have to continue the left in order to create a single rotation to the fourth finger. Again, left to the right, left, and it continues into a single rotation. It's very small, so it doesn't feel like, I'm falling this way or I'm off balance. I'm always, the amount of movement is always to the degree that does not takes you off balance from where you are. So it's left to the right. As I do the left to the right, by the way, as the forearm is moving with me to be right over the interval, it's the walking hand and arm. It's the lateral part of when we play. The forearm has to move with us. The rotation is this very quick movement, which is left and right, and they work together as a team. So you have the rotation, and the rotation sends us over and brings the forearm just in the right amount to feel nicely balanced. And as you see also, the 2-5 is in a different place than if I just went like this. This is good for that, but not for playing an interval. The arm has to be a little bit more over. So again, it starts as a single rotation, lands here, and it's a single, and even going beyond to create a little bit of a single, to take us to the fourth finger, very small. Same here. Now here, this is flipping over, again is a single rotation to a single note, would have been another single rotation. But because it's an interval, it gets us over, and we feel a little bit to the left. Very little. Everything that I talk about and I exaggerate becomes very little and blends with other movements, and it all becomes very smooth and easy to play fast. So, so we have this. This is the first aspect that I wanted to show. It's from the rotational point of view. Now, I'm out here, and if I go here and I go here, you see we suddenly have the thumb going into needing to go into the Blocky area. It's a short finger, and it needs to go in. And if we do it very suddenly, sudden motions don't work well when we move very quickly. It's very sudden. Also, most of the time, people then twist. And twisting is one of the basic reasons for having problems and pain. And it really destroys the alignment between the hand and the forearm, which is so essential for healthy technique and a good technique. So when we stay here, first of all, there is a little bit of an out even here. Just a little bit, no reason to stay in the Blocky area here. So notice that my fingers don't curl. The second part of the rotation brings me over here. I'm out for the whole thing. But I'm already planning, gradually I'm moving inside. So when I go here, my thumb is here and I'm already inside. The thumb is going to play in the white key area. If I stay inside, the thumb has no room to play. So we have two aspects of the in and out. A little bit of an out here, which is small. And as you see, I'm getting there and I'm playing a little bit higher and a little bit forward because I'm going to a black key. And I'll explain in a minute what it is. A little bit up to put me here. These are the small ones. Now here I'm not going out, I'm going forward and I'm going in. Little out here, but here bigger out to get me to the white key area. I stay out again. I'm going already on that thumb to put me here. In other words, I start moving in a way that it will feel very gradual and very smooth. You want playing to feel smooth without sudden surprises. So when you see me, when I talk about getting a little bit higher, it's part of shaping. We have a little undershape here. Undershapes are almost straight across, just a little bit, and then they end up a little bit on the up. And very often they connect then to an overshape. So that's what happens. It's another shape. This is an overshape. So the second note of one shape is the first note of the next shape. From here to here, it's an undershape. This one is a three-note shape. In a three-note, the middle note will be the high point. And we have to define how high is high. It never should be up where it takes us off the keyboard. It should never be low where we're falling off and collapsing. So it's, again, just to get you to where per need. Under, those three notes are an over. This is an under. These three notes are over. Another little under. So you don't see any of this. Very little. Now, from here to here to here, it's another overshape. It will be enough if you think I'm getting just a little bit higher here, coming a little bit down to the thumb. Getting a little bit higher here, coming a little bit down to the thumb. Just very, or little. Another aspect that is very important, that could be very helpful in going from the single note to the interval, to think of the closest note. Rather than 1, 5, to think my distance is really from 1 to 2. What it does, it places the arm in just the minimal amount of motion, that instead of moving too far over there, it just moves you, it gives very much the feeling, thinking the closest note gives the feeling of a greater sense of closeness. Even though we have all the movements to get around, we want to feel close. And as people develop better and better techniques, they always report that the keyboard, from feeling very open, begins to feel shrunk in size. It's the same keyboard, but the efficiency of the movement makes things feel like it's very, very small, and that's a very, very good feeling to have. Another very important aspect is that we see that we have a distance, and then we have three notes that are close. Distance and three notes that are close. Distance, three notes that are close. So we group together. This is the whole subject of grouping, which is very essential. It's how we take groups within the phrase and make it you feel more comfortable. We organize it in a way that we feel this is one aspect of it, what feels very close. So this is my grouping. I still have the movement to get me there, but when I get me there, what registers in the end is those three notes. Also, it follows the rule, which is not an always, but very often, that it's easier to go from the more notes, from the heavier to the lighter. So I get there, the arm settles well there, and there is a little bit less for the single notes. Now when the form is very free and you trained it to feel all of those things, it itself senses how much is necessary. When we start here, it begins to weigh itself, to get a sense of here I need more and here I need less to feel very solid, and also to get the sounds that I want to get. One other thing that I wanted to mention is the rhythm. And those of you who have seen my The Art of Rhythmic Expression know how passionate I am about this whole subject, because composers very often create a syncopation for example, sometimes by little accents and sometimes by thickening the writing, like here. It's very different from, this is more like this. And as you know how important the downbeats are, in a very subtle way, always combined with tone production so that it doesn't sound like an accent, but it sounds alive and moving. And then if we feel correctly the downbeat, we can highlight a little bit the offbeat. And this is what happens here, because he didn't put the bar line starting here. Very often people either do that or they ignore it. They just do. And then it also doesn't feel very good physically because the arm didn't settle that little. So I wanted to show that there is kind of an inner syncopation that goes here, and we should highlight it rather than ignore it. If I did it, if I exaggerated it, it would sound... and so on. That's what. So this is exaggerating. We can do the amount that we want. It's a very lyrical left hand, and we can do it just a little bit. But it should not be ignored, because this is something that he wrote that is essential. He's telling you something, and I showed in the tape on rhythm how in the Opus 10 number 3 he gives while he's giving a very single. Beautiful melody on the top, the left hand, he shows. So there's a lot of syncopation in Chopin that often we ignore because we play, because the melodies are so beautiful, and we hide that. But he's giving you, it's like in jazz, it's giving you like a rhythm section, and it can be light, it can be whatever you decide, but it is there. He does this syncopation even more starting in measure 81, when he does it in 16th notes. So slow it down so that you can see I'm bringing out the beats and the off beats, and I like very much that feeling of 1, 2. And then he does it on the beat, and then off beat going to the beat. Now, one can do it much lighter. We can do, we can choose how much we want to do, but it's right in the music. So I'm hoping to bring it out to your attention, so that you don't ignore it and only play the left-hand line. The left-hand line is beautiful, but what makes it really interesting is what the right hand is doing here.